Hi there, it's Karen here from Turquoise Treasures, and today we're working on our file folder folio. I just want to say thank you to everybody who said they are joining in with me in making this. I'm really pleased that some of you feel like you want to join in and have invested in your magnets and you're having a go at this, because I think it's a really fun thing to do. And it's just nice to know that some of you are enjoying it along with me. So thank you so much for doing that. So what we're working on today, I'm hoping we'll get finished today, I'm determined we'll get finished today, is panel 2, which we started work on in the last video, and we got as far as doing the what we're calling the outer fold outs, which are these two. And at the end of the last video, if you remember, I decided I needed to reinforce this join here where the envelope was joined, and so I have put some lace on here. As you can see, it's just some really pretty lace that coordinates beautifully with the kit. Unfortunately, it didn't coordinate so beautifully with the blue doily that I'd already put on behind this lady's picture. I don't know if you remember. So what I ended up doing, because it showed through really badly and didn't look right at all, so I actually covered that blue doily with some white doily so that it basically disappears. And the same here, there was a bit of blue doily here as well. So I covered that up, and then I've added some extra lace for good measure. So you'd never know it had been there. But that's what happens sometimes. You put something on, it looks fine, but then you take it to the next level and it doesn't look so fine, so you cover it up. And I'm really happy with how that turned out, and I love this lace. And I've done the same on the other side, of course, to match, so that the two sides, so both of the joins are reinforced. Whether I'll have to do that on any of the other envelopes, I don't know, but I like the look of it anyway. I think it looks really pretty. So I think the next thing I would like to do is to cover up our flips, and then we'll work on the area on the inside. So I have done a little bit of preparation, just to save some time in this video. I want to get it finished today, this bit, not all of it obviously. There's quite a lot of work to do still. A few more videos to come. So I've already prepared my papers for the flips, and so this is for the bottom flip, this is for the top flip, and I'll just show you bottom, top. So if we do the insides first, the inside of the flips, I might just fold that in a bit. Just move it up so you can see what we're working on. So very simple. I've just cut a piece of paper to fit around here, and all I do with these sizes is these shapes is just cut it round, and then, as I've done on the other ones, then draw around it and cut so that it's just fitting nicely in there. So I'm going to stick that one in, and I have I've done the same for the top. So I'll stick these in, and then we'll come back and do the outsides of the flips. Okay, as you can see, I've now covered the inside of the top flip and the inside of the bottom flip. Now what we want to do now is the outside of the panels. So I wanted to use some of this paper. But because of the size of it, whatever way I cut it, I was going to be cutting one of these flowers in half, and I thought that wouldn't look right. I didn't like the look of that. So what I've done is actually done it in almost like a collage-y effect, but two-tone sort of thing, and just done two pieces of paper so that they overlap like that. And I've done the same with the other two, is going to be the other way around like that. So I'm going to stick those on like that, and I think that actually looks really pretty, and all the colours and all the roses all go well together. And I'm a lot happier with not having to cut the roses in half, and I quite like that. It just also brings in a bit more of this beautiful turquoisey colour, which I think at the moment we haven't done an awful lot of, and I want to bring a bit more of that in, so that's why I've done it that way as well. So I'll just glue those on, and I'll be right back. Right, so they're covered now. I think they look really pretty like that. I will probably be adding some lace further down the line, but because it would be just nice to edge these both with lace, especially as particularly on this one it looks a little odd, it's just been cut off there, but I'm going to do the decorating I think later on. I want to get the construction of these done first. So the next thing I would like to do is actually to put some pockets on the inside of these flips. So I've got this scrap left from doing the front, and I thought actually they're just about the right size for doing a little pocket. And I put one on one side and one on the other just for balance. Oh, I've got my trolley with my cutter is kind of way over the other side of the room for some reason. Just bring it back so I can use it. Okay, so what I would like to, what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to cut off this top trim, because it's just, if I use that, if I keep that in as part of the pocket, then I'm going to lose half the flowers. So I think it'd be better. I prefer to have the complete flower. Let's just pop that there for a moment. We can always use that for something at another time. So if I move this up so you can see, I think I'm just going to put the pocket about there. Where's my pencil? Got everything at my hand except my pencil. There it is. Right. So how wide do I want to? I think the pocket's probably just going to be just this little panel here, and similarly on this side. So I'll cut it to size. I'll just cut those, and then I might have to cut it down a little bit lengthwise as well. Let's see if that's, no, I think I've made it too wide. Cut it off a little bit wider than I planned. I think that would be better. And I'll cut the other one similarly. That's just the perfect size for a pocket, I think. And it'll go quite nicely as we've got these flowers on the outside of those flips. Let's have a look. Get rid of these bits. So it doesn't really matter which way it goes, I don't think. So let's have a look. So that might just fit nicely there. I might just round those corners a little bit, I think, just because they look a little bit cut off suddenly. Now where's my, there it is, my little corner rounder thingy. I think it just goes in nicely there. As we've got lots of soft corners with it being a file folder, I want to try and round my corners as often as it makes sense to do so. Yeah, I think so. I could bring it all the way down here, but I think it will just bog things up too much, and I think it's fine. It's plenty wide enough for a tag or a little journal card of some sort. So I'm just going to let's check the other one is the right size. Flip that in so we can work on the top one. And I think that's about right as well, hopefully. Is that right? Yeah, it's possibly, I think the top one is a little bit shorter. Or is it a bit longer? I can't remember now. No, it's a bit longer, isn't it? So it's not fitting in quite so neatly, but that's fine. As long as there's enough room for the pocket. So I'm just going to corner around those two pieces as well. And then I'll link them up and glue them into place. And then I'll be back. Okay, so they're done. So we've got the, so it's gone a bit wrinkly there. We've got the top flip and we've got our little pocket, and I've just done a little thumb hole here because I like that look in my pockets. I like a little thumb hole to show that it's a pocket, and I like the little bit of contrast that we've got here. And then we've got the same thing on the bottom pocket, but we've got it on the other side. And so we'll make the ephemera and, you know, the tags and the journal cards at the end to pop in. There's a lot of them will be part of the kit, but some of them we may need to make from scratch. So I really think that the decorating and the ephemera making will have to happen at the end. I think we'll get this all made and constructed, and then we'll do a bit of that. Unless there's anything like having to do the bit of lace here just to make sure it was all secure and reinforced, and then I might need to do that as we go along. So what we need to do now is the section to go in the middle. So we start off with a piece of paper that fits right inside here. Now my piece, and it's possibly a little bit narrower than it needs to be, but I wanted to make sure it all fits in nicely. So I think I've measured this at 7 1/8, which is the height, by 4 3/8, which is the width. That's this piece of paper, so it fits right in the middle there. And then, right, so we've got, just take a, got all my papers and things cut, so I'll just take out the piece that we actually need. And take out the piece for this one. Right, so we have our inner fold outs, the left hand one and the right hand one. And what we need to do is we fit this piece of paper right inside there. So we fit it in like that, so that it flips up, and that's inside, and then the same with the left hand one. Slot that in there and glue it in. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take away the main file folder, so we can just work on this inner panel. I always get this wrong. Fold those in first. That one, that one, that one, and that one. Even now, after the number of times I've done this, and I still get it wrong. Okay, let's put that out of the way. So we've checked that that fits, and it does. So now we need to glue these two pieces onto the piece of central paper. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue. Anything where I'm sticking things to the actual file folder, I am using the art glitter glue just because in my head I think it's a little stronger, but I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. But it's also a bit easier to control when you've got a smaller area to cover, when you've got the fine tip. So I'm just going to pop that in there. So I found one. Let's get it into place. Which I always manage to make look far more difficult than it needs to. I'm sure it's lined up at the top. No, it's not quite lined up. Try again. That's better. I suggest you watch Shelley's video for this. She makes it look much easier than I do. Okay. And then we'll do this one. I'll try and remember to link her video again below. She managed to do the whole thing in 2 videos. I don't think that's not going to be... Well, already it's not the case for me. But I'm making life a little bit more complicated by adding extra bits, aren't I? That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. Right. And put that in there. Okay, this one's gone a little bit better. So then you pop that in there, and you pop that in there like that, and you've got your inner fold outs. But we don't want to just leave it like that, do we? No, 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 no. We want to make life more difficult for ourselves and a bit more interesting, I think. So I've been fishing out more envelopes, of course. Now I've got a little pile of things. I can't remember which side is which is the left or the right. That's the left. Stuff for the left, and this is the stuff for the right. Let's do the left hand one first. So on the original one that I did, let's have a quick look, remind ourselves. So these are the outer ones, we've already done these. These are the inner ones that we're doing now. So I did a big one on the left and two little ones on the right. So of course I'm going to do it slightly differently and just swapping them over and do the big one on the right and the two little ones on the left. That's the plan for this one. So this is the left hand side. So I've done all my bits of paper and bits and pieces to glue on just to speed things up a little bit. But we've got to put in our envelopes first. Now this time I'm going to try and put them in the way I intended, rather than which I did on the first fold out. I got them the opposite way to what I intended, didn't I? But okay. So I think we'll do it like that. So clip it in like that, and the other one we then put like, fold it like that. It goes like that, and then it flips out like that. Now I have already just measured a piece of paper to go inside here, which I might do before I actually glue it in, just because that might be easy to access it. So let's quickly just glue that in. Get my glue book. So some I'm going to put, like, so for instance this one I'm going to put something inside the envelope that way, but I think on my little brown one I'm going to cut it across the top. So slightly different to what I did in the first folio. Now let's see if I can get this in without too many problems. It's just a case of sliding it in, lining it up, and everything's pre-inked. So just speed things up a little bit, and then you can sort of line up. And it helps you to line things up when you've inked everything anyway. Right, so that's gone in like that nicely. Surprise. And then that goes in like that, and then I'll be able to slot something in here. So I'm just going to glue that in, and I have trimmed off a bit of this flap just because I didn't really need the whole flap. So I'm going to pop that in like that. So you can see I didn't cut it particularly straight, but it doesn't matter because it's going to get covered up. and then I'll do the other one. So this one I think is going to get cut. Now which way am I going to cut it? I could either cut it across there or I could cut it here. Let's, no, if I cut it here and I've got something sticking out, it's going to... So I need to cut it across the top, so it's worth working that out. So I might do that before I stick it down, it might be easier. It's come a little bit adrift, so I'll just glue it back down again. Just on this little corner. Right, so that's going to go in that way. So let's glue that in. Don't need dark glitter glue, I don't think, for that one. Right, just check I've got it the right way around. Yep, that's the open top. So I might pop that down there a little bit. It's not completely central. Just a little bit lower down. In as far as it'll go, and then glue it down. So we have that one. That's that. So that's my stuff for the left hand side. And then I need the envelope for the right hand side. And again, I've already pre-cut a piece of paper to go inside it. Right, so I think what I'm going to do, is I had a thought about the inside of this, so I might do that before I actually glue this in. Instead of covering this with paper, because it's such a lovely cream colour, I thought I might do a bit of stenciling on the inside of this envelope. So I might do that before I've glued that in, and then if it goes over the edge it won't matter. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So I've got a couple of options, and this isn't really well, they are stencils, but I thought because I'm doing roses I might try and use this. This is I've had this for years. It's like it's made of cardboard, but because it's roses I thought it might look rather nice just like that. Actually that's going to work rather well. But you can also use this, you can actually glue this in, paint it up, do what you like with it really. But I'm going to try and use it as a stencil. Because just say it's a stencil. Actually that's fitted rather better than I expected. I might just put something underneath. So I should probably make a mess. Let's just cover this, put this top on. Let's give this a go. I've got a gigantic brush thing here. Oh, that was the other the other thing. I was going to try and decide which colour to use, whether to stick with the Victorian Velvet and have more pink, or whether to go for Broken China. So I think I might just try the Broken China on here because I don't know how bright this colour will be. And will that go with the colour that I'm using in here? Let's have a look. Oh, I think that might look quite nice, that colour. I might go with the Broken China just to bring in a bit of the turquoise. Bit of contrast, be quite nice. Oh, I'm going to have to try out. I'll turn the camera off and try it out on here because I don't want to risk messing it up. So I'm just going to see if this does work as a stencil before I actually use it on the envelope. Right, let's see how it looks. So I don't think it works brilliantly as a stencil because it's quite thick. But I might be able to use this just as a die cut as it is. So what I think I'll try first, so I'll keep that handy. I might use this at on here or on something else. I mean, it's not terrible, but I don't think it will be clear enough to see what it should be. Oh, that wasn't very clever. Good thing it was on the bit that's not going to show. So I've got this other stencil, this here, which is a very large stencil. That one there, it's a 12 by 12, but you could just use a bit of it. And I could put that there and then see how that looks. And just do it faintly, and then I could maybe put the other one over the top afterwards. So, just wondering how far across to do it. Maybe like that. Or like that. Just want to make sure it all gets covered. All the bit that I need to get covered. Right, let's do it about there. I'll put this where I can get at it more easily. I'm just going to do it lightly and see how I get on. Whoa. So this is the Distress Oxide, so I think you get a bit more colour from it. I hope it doesn't move. A bit more on. There. Let's see how this looks. Hold it in place and just peel it back, see if we've got... Ooh, that's pretty. Yeah, that might be alright. So, I don't know whether it needs this as well or not, really. Possibly not, because it'll make it a bit bulky, won't it? But I do like this. Might be able to use it on something. Right, so I've got that. Let's just put my lid back on. Such a pretty colour. And now I can put this piece inside. That in here. I should have inked that in the blue now, but never mind, I've still got the pink around the edge of the envelope anyway, so I need to stick with the pink. I just might wipe my fingers. Nope, they're dry. I've got a wet one here somewhere. Yeah, that's it. Just make sure I don't ink anywhere else. A bit of a wipe. Right. Put our little insert in. Sorry, excuse me. I always seem to have a bit of a tickle when I'm filming. Okay. Just trying to put this piece in now. Try and do it without smudging all the ink that I've just put on there. Okay, got some on the flap. But perhaps going to need some ink, some glue anyway, isn't it? In a minute. Just wipe it off for the moment. Right, so I've got that on the inside. And now we can attach it to our insert. So it's going to go like that. So this one is a bigger envelope, but it still fits okay, like that, and then it's going to flip out like that. So that's all right. We'll get that glued in. Just about folds in. Yeah, couldn't go any bigger than this, I think, on the envelope. For some reason it's not entirely straight, but I think it'll be fine. Okay, so now we want to cover the envelopes. And I just happen to have covered the envelopes and the backing paper, these file foldery bits. So, okay, so I've got this piece cut for the inside to go in here, and then I have already cut the piece for the envelope. It's going to go there. So I literally took a piece of paper the right width, slotted it in, and drew round the edge of the inside of the envelope, so that and then cut that out, so it should fit nicely there, and you get that nice little bit of contrast with the pink. This piece of paper is not part of the this Artimaze kit, the shabby chic kit, but it is one of her freebie papers, so it's still one of hers, and I thought it actually goes quite nicely because it's got the roses, and I thought it went quite well, and it was just a slightly different paper, but goes quite nicely with the rest of the kit, so I thought I'd use that as a bit of contrast. I've got the same on both sides. So I've got that, and then a stray bit of glue on there, and then I've got, what have I got for the other side of my envelope? I've got this piece here. So let's glue these pieces on and see how we go. Okay, so this one is stuck in now, and I've covered the envelope. This is the inside, and the outside looks really pretty. And it's worth thinking when you're layering up your papers like this with your envelopes, especially if you've got a couple, try and make it so that there's a bit of contrast between each layer, so you can see them. Otherwise, they sort of all blend into each other a bit. So I've got my papers for my little envelope, and I cut them out, but most of them I've actually marked on the back where they were supposed to go, but I didn't with these, so I've got to decide which way to put them. So I've got this fairly plain, really pretty turquoisey piece, and I think I'm going to put that on the inside, and then I've got this piece which looks quite nice on the outside, and that could always be decorated up a bit as well. So I'm going to stick that, and remember I've got my little, I've cut it across the top here, so the envelope is going to, so I need to cover the whole piece. So I think first of all I need to just pop a piece of paper in the envelope so that it doesn't, I don't glue over this bit. So that on these, when you've got to leave a little bit of a gap, it's always best to glue on the envelope itself. And I've fallen foul of doing that so many times now, when I've actually glued the paper or not thought about leaving that space open. So I'm trying to remember now. That's what I need to do. And the little line of glue just along the edge, the inner edge, for the paper, so that it's not flapping about. Okay, and then I've got this piece to pop in. Fits nicely. It's a change for me to cut things to the right size. Sometimes I think I've cut it right, and then it ends up with a slightly wonky line. Try to be a bit more careful with my cutting on this one. There we are. And then on the outside, have I gone a bit too close? I think I'm okay. On the outside I've got this piece, so I can go ahead and just cover that with glue and get that glued on. Again, a lot of this can be decorated a bit further. In fact, we might do some side tucks on this piece before we finish. Right, so that's on. Okay, I think that looks really pretty. I love all the roses and all the pretty colours. There's a real contrast from the one I did before, and I love that one as well. Just make sure I cover up my glues. Right, so we'll do the other side. Oh no, I've got another piece to put on, haven't I? Aha, got this side to put on. I'll just turn it up that way. I've got one more piece, and that's going to go on there like that. So let's just do that. Okay, so that piece is done. That's just glued on there. It looks really pretty. And I strongly suspect there will be lace involved with the decoration at the end. And then I've got to do my right hand side. Now I'm not too happy with this, it's catching. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim a bit off this envelope and then re-glue it, because I think it's just that little fraction too big. So I think I'm going to not take any chances, and I'm going to use my cutter. Oh. And of course it may mean that some of my papers may have to be trimmed a little as well. I'm not going to cut a lot off, but just enough to hopefully, there we are, hopefully make it not keep catching every time I try and close it. Let's see. So it's just that little bit more, so I've got a little bit more of a gap. I think it will be okay. She says. But still, I think it's just because it's flapping a bit. Not sure. It's actually, I think it's okay. Should be alright. Right, I'm going to glue that back together, because I can't have anything going in here because it's obviously too close. so I'll need to stick with plan A and have it as going in from the other end. So I just need to do a tiny bit of glue just to hold this shut again. Oop. Not very good at gluing in a straight line. I just need to quickly re-ink that. And just lightly along here. There we are. Okay, so right, so now we need to put our piece in the middle here. And as with the other one, we're going to use a piece of this. So that'll be fine. So if I'll just show you, so this one obviously is already done, it's already decorated, so all I've got to do is put a piece on the outside. And I've decided that she's going to go there. I'm going to have to trim her down a little bit now. But I'm going to put her there. After I decided this and cut this all to size, I realised that I'm actually going to have her on the same side. She's going to be on there again. She's on twice, but I think she's so lovely I don't really mind too much. So I'm just going to trim her down, re-ink, and glue this on, and glue this one on. And then I'll be back. Okay, so now we've got everything covered. So I've covered the outside of the envelope and the outside of the fold out as well. While I was at it, I covered them both. So now is probably a good time to put it back into the folio before we add any more. Let's open it up. Upper flap, and we open these out. So these are the outer fold outs, and now you can see how the inner fold out will fit right in the middle there, and then hopefully everything wraps around it without too much trouble. You go like that, and we're, ooh, yeah. We may decide we need to put a bit of Velcro on here because it's popping up a little bit, but we may not, we'll see. So fits in there nicely, so all I need to do is just add my glue to the back of this inner piece. Now if you do watch Shelley Geigel's video, she does all hers in slightly different order to me. I think you can probably decorate these things in any way you like. She puts the whole thing together and then decorates it. I thought it was easier to decorate things as I went along, but that's just personal choice, I think. Now just make sure it fits nicely in between the two fold ups, and I'm just sort of lining it up really with my flips. Make sure they're lined up like that so that it's not out of kilter. So if I open that out, perhaps I'll just use my bowl folder just to make sure all the edges are nicely glued into place. Slight leakage here. I think that's a good sign. It means that glue's gone right to the edge. So there it is. That's all in. There we are. Okay, so I think the only thing I did in my last one, which I'd quite like to do in this one as well, is put in a couple of little side tucks here, just to give it a little bit more places to add things. You could also put, if you wanted to, I think it's a case of measuring how much bulk you've got. But one of the things you could do is put a little notepad in here, which is an option. But I do put a notepad in my panel 3, if you remember, so we'll be doing that. But there's so many options, you know, there's so many things you could do. You could put pockets here and here and here. I've decided I'm going to do the side ones, but you know, you can do whatever sort of pockets make sense for you. So I think with this one, although with the pockets on this were just made from the paper, I think the side tucks I'm going to use some folio, just because being longer they need to be a bit stronger. They could easily tear otherwise. I've got this leftover piece here, so I think I'm going to use this and just cut it to size, and then I'm going to cover it because I want to match this piece of sort of tabby bit of the folio. Let's make it about the half the width of the piece here. So I cut that down. Oops. And then we'll cut that, put that in a little bit from the top and measure it at the bottom. Cut that as well. And if you're lucky, you've got a piece that's got the folio, the little tab, both ends, but I haven't. So I think what I might do is I've got a piece the other end, so maybe I'll just draw around that to get it equal. So I'll do that. Draw around the other end. And I can just cut that to shape, and then it'll be the same top and bottom, won't it? Just going to snip off that little sharp bit, make it a little bit more rounded, and the same at the top. Okay, so I've got that piece, can go there. I might even round that off a little bit more. Fit in nicely there, and I've got my side tuck. Just wondering, is that a bit too deep? Do I want to make it a little? Because I quite like being able to put in a decent sized journal card, so I think we'll leave it like that. And then I've got to do one for the other side. So I will cut that to size. Like that. We'll try and do that one. Right, so I now have these two pieces for my side tucks. And the piece of paper I've chosen to cover these, I had two options, and I'm ahhing a little bit, but I had this paper. This is actually from another Artimaze kit that I've got. I have a few of her kits. And this is the sewing collage kit, I think it was called. So it's a kit I used when I was doing my sewing journal. But I just thought this is such a pretty piece of paper and it goes so well with the colour scheme. I've also got it in the pink, but I thought the pink might be a little pale, but I've got, so this is similar shade of pink. It's almost a peach and it would go, but I think it might be a bit too, I don't think there's enough contrast with the pink, the pinky bit. I think I prefer this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick these two pieces onto the back, I'm going to stick them onto here and then glue them in. I'll do the first one on camera and I'll do the second one off camera. Right, let's just get this out of the way a little bit. So this is the left-hand one. So that's the front of it. So if I put, I'm just going to glue it straight onto the paper. It's probably the easiest thing to do. And then I'll cut round the tapered pieces. I'll just cut around the whole thing. Like so. Might even ink this with the broken china rather than with the pink. A bit of contrast. Where'd my scissors go? Buried as usual. So I'm going to just cut around here. And around this edge, let's see how it looks. It's got a little bit of trimming here to do. Right, so let's have a look at, bring this back in. Try and get everything to lay flat. And put that into that place there. Yeah, I think that'll be alright. I know it's not from the same kit, but neither of these pieces are from that kit, so I thought it might be okay to just mix it up a little bit, a bit of contrast, especially as they're right on the inside. Just going to use what I've got left on this brush, I think, see if I can use that to ink around the edge. There we are. Okay, so I should glue that in. So just across the top and down the side. Of course the glue has decided not to cooperate. Come on, glue. You can do it. That's it. All right. And I'm just going to pop that in there. So I don't know if you remember in the other one I put a postcard in here. Let's see if I've got any other postcards I can use that would work. Okay, so that's that one. Hold that in. And this one, oh, that's right, folds it like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same on this side with the other one. And then I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. I think we've done everything we can do today. I'll go through what we've got. We've done our top, covered our top and bottom flips, so they go up. Let's get some of these things out of the way because we're going to be spreading ourselves out here. So flip up with a pocket and flipping down with another pocket. This one was what we did last time, and we could still possibly put something in here in these side pockets, but in these side flaps, but we are getting a little bulky now. So we've got this is flipping up a bit because it's quite thick. So that one flips out and out again, and we have our side tuck. So we've got to add obviously the ephemera, and then this one flips out on this side and yet again, and here we are, we have our side tuck on this side as well. So we've got to make some ephemera to go in here and in the envelopes as well. So we're already getting quite bulky, so I'm thinking I might not have room for any more pockets or anything like that on this panel. So let's come back in again, flip in, flip in. So I think this is where it's getting quite thick because we've got the two envelopes. And then we flip in again and again and up and down. So I think there will be the need for a little closure here. Velcro is the simplest, but there are other things that can be done, but I think the Velcro would probably be the easiest if you have it. Or you can use another little magnet, I suppose. But you might need to, if you're going to use a magnet, you might want to put the magnets in before you cover. If you think you might need a magnet, then you could, and that would be a pretty good idea as well. But then you, okay, sorry, that's my phone. You need to put your little magnet under here before you cover this one, and then obviously under here before you cover on the inside and the outside. So that would be something worth thinking about, especially as if you've ordered magnets, especially for the flap. You could use another one to cover this and make sure this holds nice and firmly shut. And in fact, thinking about it, I wish I'd done that myself now. But I may have to go back to the Velcro idea because I didn't think of it in time. So there we are. So that's definitely something to think about, as to whether put your magnets in and hide them under here. Because I think there would be just room. You've got enough of you've got enough crossover, I think, to fit in a magnet at top and bottom. So yeah, that might be worth a good idea to do that. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me for this finishing of panel 2, and please do join me again next time when we will start work on panel 3. It's exciting, isn't it? We're getting there. I'm loving how this is turning out. As far as the papers go, I think it's really pretty, and it's all going surprisingly well. And there's still room, because obviously we've got one more panel to do, so there's still plenty of room in there to fill. So there we are. See you again soon. Bye for now.